Hello and welcome to episode 2 of the Red and White Show. Joining me to look ahead to Tuesday night's game against Stockport County, Rovers striker Josh Andrews and Club Doncaster media manager Liam Hoden. Josh, welcome to the show. A big game coming up on Tuesday night. You've got a couple of more starts under your belt now. How are you finding things in a Rovers shirt?
Yeah, I've really enjoyed my time so far here. Settled in quite well. Squad's brilliant, and we're really looking forward to kicking on.
You obviously came off the bench at Bradford in a pretty crazy game on the opening day of the season. You then were given your first start by Gary McSheffrey. How much were you chomping at the bit once you got that opportunity?
Yeah, obviously I was really happy to get the start. Sort of settled in quite well. So obviously the Bradford game was quite a tough one to be introduced into, but I think you could see the lads' fitness and desire to grind that game out. And then against Sutton, another tough game, but again, our fitness and desire sort of showed through at the end. We never stopped working, and we got the fruits of that.
Liam, you can see when Josh is on the pitch, he's a handful for defenders. He certainly adds something different to the other strikers that Rovers have got at the club, and it showed, hasn't it, in the last couple of games or so?
Certainly has. It showed at Bradford at a time when really needed a little bit of sort of relief. To have somebody up there that's going to cause a few problems, that's going to make that ball stick. Josh is ideal for that, and then we've seen what he's caused, the havoc he's caused among defenders in the games that have followed.
I mentioned to him when he signed that his type of striker, I suppose you could say, with all due respect, the old-fashioned number 9, maybe went out of fashion and then has come back in again, hasn't it? You look at the teams at the Division Rovers were in last season, in Rotherham and Wickham and Sunderland, all had that big focal point up front, something to aim for in the box.
It's massive, just because it's so unpredictable in a lot of ways. It's so difficult to handle. Someone as big and as strong as Josh, always going to cause problems. And even if necessarily the game's not gone their way, that one moment of magic, that one ball into the box, and they've got that physicality to get on the end of it, can be massive for teams.
As you've said a few times though, Josh, there is a lot more to your game than that, isn't there? Deceptively quick.
Yeah.
For a big man as well, you often see quite a lot. Peter Crouch, when he was playing it, his first touch was good, and as a big man, you're expected to just head the ball in all the time, but you have to have more to your game than that these days, don't you?
Yeah, I think in the modern era of football, you can't just be good at one thing. You need to be good at multiple things. Otherwise, you become too predictable. So, like I said, being quite quick, it certainly opens different avenues of attack, and hopefully that will make me a harder player to deal with for defenders.
How important was that loan at Rochdale you had last season? You scored a few goals there, got used to the division as well. Did that really benefit you when coming in here as well?
Yeah, massively. I think, it's all about experience at a younger age and getting that minutes and in men's football in League 2. It was a good league. And yeah, I think I did quite well at Rochdale. I think I could have done better, but I think that's sort of my attitude is I always want to do better, I want to score more goals, help the team, assist more. So you're never really satisfied. But yeah, I was happy with last season. Hopefully this season I'll do even better.
What were the major differences you found between under-23s football and men's football week in, week out?
Just the intensity just goes up another level, and then just the general feel of the atmosphere, the stadium, the fans. It makes the game a lot more hectic.
Now, last week we saw skipper Adam Clayton answer some quick-fire questions on the show. This week it's George Miller's turn in the hot seat.
George Miller, 24. Off Bolton. Junior, Ratcliffe Borough. Favourite team going up, Bury. Middlesbrough 23s. Won a header, ran onto my own flick on and volleyed it over keeper. Ormsby. Probably Jamie Vardy, because he's like he's not the typical footballer, if you know what I mean, like come through the academy system, very technical and everything like that. He is what he is, and he works well and does well. Probably Alex Mauer or Jack Payne. Favourite place to eat? There's a tapas in Bradford, lovely. Steak pie, chips and gravy. Spiders, snakes, anything like that. Non-footballing talent, singing. I've started getting into paddle. It's decent. There's one in Huddersfield. Sort of like cross between squash, tennis. It's decent. Gossip Girl, class. Don't really listen to music. Smooth FM in the car school. That's what it is. Phone Booth. Have you seen that? That is very good film, you know. All in one scene. Have you seen that, Robbie? Oh, tell him. You need to go and watch it. It's good, isn't it? Very. All set in one scene. It didn't cost a lot to make that, would it? You need to do that. Yeah. Who would play me? Clooney. Yeah, I'm going to go George Clooney. Last holiday, I went to Mexico with my girlfriend. Personal training, probably. Qualified personal trainer. My superpower would be seeing to the future. I used to love top trumps. T-Rex, know anything about them? I take Hursty's dribbling ability. Hursty's centre of gravity is very good.
Josh, George is certainly a character, isn't he? You've had the pleasure of playing alongside him more recently. He says his go-to sport other than football is paddle. Is that anything you've ever tried your hand at?
Certainly not anything that I've tried. You might have to show me. Maybe you can take me for a game or something if he fancies himself.
He's been a breath of fresh air, Liam, hasn't he, since he's come in, George? He's scored goals on the pitch and off it, willing to do anything we ask of him, but also just the way he carries himself around the place. Certainly been a valuable acquisition.
Yeah, he certainly adds a lot, both on and off the pitch, as you say. You know, fantastic character. And what's been really good as well is that you could easily fall into the trap of thinking that George is just a little bit of a joker. But as when we spoke to Steve Eyre the other week, very much praising George for how he's sort of focused himself and looking to improve himself all the time. He's still a young lad and improving all the time. So good to see the areas of the game that he's working on as well.
How have you found playing alongside him, Josh? Because of course, when the balls come up and you're flicking it on, the ideal for you is that you've got somebody running in behind, and you know he will. I think James Coppinger said when he first signed he'd chase crisp packets on a windy day, so that says a lot about him, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think that's a good summary of what he's like. Really energetic, hard worker, sort of smells out the danger, smells blood, sort of. And you know, any balls that are dropping in the box, a loose ball, he's the first one to get to it. Reactions are very good. And yeah, he's very enjoyable to play with.
We saw that against Sutton, Liam, didn't we? That he might not have had, by his own standards, the best of games. It was a difficult game for the team in general, the way that Sutton came, they made things difficult. But when the ball goes in the box, 92nd minute, he's jolly on the spot to pull Rovers level.
How many times did we see that in pre-season as well? That similar sort of goal, you know, that near post header. I think he scored at least 2 of those in pre-season. He's always in there, as Josh said, and being in the right place at the right time to get that ball over to Kieran Agard for the winner as well. He's certainly shown himself to be a dangerous player for Rovers so far.
The obvious comparisons have started to be made. People in the press and the fans, could he be the next John Marquis, if you like? It's inevitable, isn't it? The number 9 shirt, the way he's kicked off his form here. Important not to put too much pressure on him. He's still a young man at 23. So how important is it that as a club they get behind him and make sure, even when the goals aren't flowing, that you sort of stick by him?
Yeah, we saw that with John. You know, he'd go through periods where he wouldn't score, but his value to the team during those periods never dipped because of his work rate. George has got that, and that's going to be massively important. You know, it creates opportunities for other people. It gives defences so much to think about all the time. And yeah, it won't necessarily happen in front of goal every week for him, but you'd still back him to have a major impact on each game that he plays.
It does create opportunities for everybody else as well, Josh, doesn't it? Because if you've got a striker who's scoring goals like George has in pre-season, all of a sudden defenders are thinking more about him and not the runs that you may be making to the back post or the near post, and all of a sudden you find yourself with a decent opportunity at goal.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's important as a striker, even when the goals aren't going in, you still impact the team in a positive light. And like you said, if he's dragging defenders away, it creates opportunities and spaces for other people, not just me, but also maybe Lee Tomlin, Hursty, players like that, to get into pockets of space and make something happen.
Now, facing Stockport on Tuesday night will have an extra special feel to it for Tommy Rowe after he made his name in the AFL at Edgeley Park. We caught up with him this week about what to expect from Stockport and his memories of playing for them. Rowe, Stockport County, the next test at home, a team who've got a bit of momentum behind them after winning promotion back to the Football League last season.
Yeah, definitely. You know, for me, it's a personal one where I spent, you know, majority of my early career there. Obviously, a club that helped me out immensely. my first steps into the footballing ladder, if you like, and some great moments, at the club, from coming through the youth setup to making my first team debut to, playing in some important games across the Football League and obviously the promotion, and just very, very fond memories of that club and coaches and the fan base, and still to this day, driving through Edgeley as I do. Driving past the Edgeley Park and remembering them days, so it's a club that I hold close to my heart.
I assume, given the way that they went for a fair few years, you won't have actually played against them that often since leaving, so you must be looking forward to that.
Yeah, I've never faced them in my professional career, which is quite strange, really. Obviously, when I left Stockport, it was in a difficult situation at the time, and obviously I kept my eye on speaking to a lot of people at the club over the years, and obviously delighted now to see the rise back through the Football League and long may it continue. But it's a strange one. I've faced most of my clubs, but Stockport is one that I've not. So it'd be a good game. Like all these league games early on, especially on a Tuesday night, they always travel well. They were the days where I used to play. I remember obviously games at Edgeley Park, but the travelling support was fantastic as well. So it's all going to build to a great atmosphere, at the Eco Power, and what more can you ask for on a Tuesday?
Yeah, the way they've come up as well, they've obviously got a manager in there who has a system and an idea of how he wants the team to play. They've got a lot of big name players, the likes of Paddy Madden in the team. They're certainly a big team at this level now.
Yeah, definitely, and I think the club is ready to deal with that. They always have. We've had big name players over the past years that they've been successful. And that's the infrastructure that they have at the club. They're ready for that. You can see that they're building nicely with a good squad, and it's going to be a good test. We knew the early stages of the season are going to be difficult, and they always are in every year. And we'll look forward to the game when it comes around, and we'll prepare as well as we can, as always. But again, it's a game where we've got to take care of ourselves. What we've been doing really well this year is having a real focus on us as a squad and as a unit, and keeping things quite in-house and personal, and I think that's the game plan for the next one.
You must be going into it with a lot of belief, given how the Sutton game finished. You had a big hand in the first goal, and with 2 games in the space of 4 days at home, it's a real big boost, isn't it, going into these 2?
It is, yeah. You forget sometimes when you come back for pre-season, what the travelling does to you, and to have 2 home games back to back is massive, because we've got the energy in our legs, but more importantly, energy from the crowd. And just on Tuesday night alone, it was immense. Sitting there and just hearing the fans to the last minute. Lads are 3-0 down, but I could clearly see that there was a real push to keep us going all the way to the 90th minute, and that's going to be even more so in a league game. So yeah, it's incredible, and that's what we need at home.
I know it's a long time since you left Stockport, and you're maybe not known for your extravagant celebrations anyway, but have you thought about, if you were to score against them, what the reaction might be?
No, not really. Like I say, I make it quite easy on that one, because I don't tend to run off. Emotion's not one. I try and keep my emotion within the game, and then obviously the goals are just goals. I'm more delighted for the work that we've done when we score goals, and I feel a real sense of pride from my team. When I score goals, I feel a real sense of pride. That's something we worked on training, or whether it be from a mistake that we saw within the team setup, and I can give the credit to the staff, whoever thought of the idea or whatnot, and or if it's a moment of genius, which rarely is on my behalf, but you get players who do, then you get around them players, and we'll enjoy the moment. That's what we're here for. We're here to compete. We're here to show our passion, and I'm certainly one of them players that will do that on a given night. So I'll take it as it comes and see what happens on the reaction.
Liam, I think from speaking to Rowie at the end of last week, that you can see how his fond memories are of playing at Stockport, and remarkably it'll be the first time he's come up against them since he left a long time ago. It shows where they've been and how they've managed to fight back to get back in the EFL.
Yeah, it's been a long journey for him, coming back, a big club. You only have to see the sort of attendances they were getting last season in the National League, and what if things catch fire in League 2 this season that people expect, we'll be able to see that again. They'll be right up there and well backed all the way. But it has been a long journey for him to come back, and I'm sure Tom is looking forward to this one.
He sort of played it down a little bit, didn't he, when we were talking about celebrations? Would he celebrate if he scored? He's not really one, as he says in the interview, for running off and making a big deal of things. Is he very level-headed, one way or another?
Very level-headed. Whenever you speak to him, he's fully committed, but he just keeps that calm edge all the time. Does out on the pitch as well, and I think that's needed, certainly in that sort of leadership role that he's got as well.
He was a big miss at Bradford on the opening day, Josh. You could see the lift in mood, couldn't you, when he was back in the team against Sutton, and a driving force behind Rovers getting the result that day.
Yeah, he's a very professional player, like you said. He does the right things at the right time, knows exactly what to do and when to do it, and he's a great player to have around the squad.
Another busy week for the players off the pitch as well. As he continues his progression back to full fitness, Luke Molyneux also found time to speak to students from the Club Doncaster Foundation on the Premier League Youth Summit Day.
Luke, you've just paid a visit to the Club Doncaster Sports College. The pupils there putting your few questions. How did you find that visit?
It was really good. It was good to see all the kids and see how much they enjoyed it and how much they were learning as well at the same time.
Plenty of interesting questions for you.
Yeah, there was some good questions, but stuff they wanted to hear, and it was good to get some feedback as well.
Where are you at the minute then? Obviously your start to life at Rovers has been disrupted by that injury that you got in pre-season, but where are you at just after a couple of weeks in?
I'm feeling fit. I'm feeling ready to go. Obviously the knee's getting there. It's obviously it's an injury you don't want to risk too much, and don't want to push it too soon, but for me, it's feeling good, and hopefully I'm back soon.
Well, speaking to you now just prior to the game against Wimbledon, have you got a target for when you like to be back on the pitch?
The aim for me would probably be Stockport, Salford, one of them games. Obviously if it's not right, it's not right, but for me I want to be back as soon as possible and get back on the pitch.
How frustrating has it been, having that injury just when you're trying to get on your feet at a new club?
Yeah, obviously it's so frustrating, especially at the time of the season when it is, right at the start of the season, but it's one of them things that happens in football, and I just need to get through it and come back stronger.
What have you made to the start of the season from the lads?
Obviously they've done well with the results wise. I think the performances hasn't been there, but I think the lads know that themselves, and they know that things need to be better, but as you can see we've managed to get results even when we're not playing well, so hopefully when the performances come we can keep getting the points.
You'll be itching to get going and contribute to that uplifting performances.
Yeah, hopefully, I can't wait to get back.
Liam, Luke's been a busy boy off the pitch while he's been injured, hasn't he? It's going to be crucial when he does get back fit to the way Gary McSheffrey wants to play.
Yeah, I think we saw signs of it in pre-season with the couple of appearances that Luke made, how important he will be to how Gary wants to do things this season, cutting in off that right-hand side. He showed his danger in pre-season, and we saw, looking back at what he produced at Hartlepool last season in scoring those 12 goals, so many of them coming in off that side of the pitch and going for it with his left foot. He's going to be a massive player for Rovers when fit and available. Of
course, he's a winger, Josh, so when he does come back in, you as a centre forward must be looking forward to him again occupying defenders, but also finding the space to whip balls into the box for you and George and other strikers to get on the end of.
Yeah, he's a very creative player, so obviously one that I'm looking forward to seeing back in the squad. I remember at Hartlepool last season when I was at Rochdale, he caused us quite a few problems when we played against him, so yeah, he's a very good player and I'm looking forward to him finally getting onto the pitch. Stockport,
the next test then on Tuesday night. They've not had the easiest of starts since coming back up from the National League, but a team, as we touched on earlier on, that are going to be, you would imagine, right up there come the end of the season.
Yeah, they'll be a good team. They'll be organised. Like you said, they've just come up, so maybe they'll have that extra sort of bit of fight about them, but I'm sure we can match them, and it'll be a good game for sure.
There are a couple of teething problems for them, but I'm sure they won't be reading too much into that, given that, Bradford, again, haven't had the fastest of starts, but you'd imagine them to still be up there at the end of the campaign. It's not really how you start, it's how you finish, isn't it?
Of course it is, and 2 games, it's nothing at this stage, changes come in, changes come to squads, it's just about settling in and finding your feet, and once it clicks, you can imagine that Stockport are going to be right up there. They're well resourced, as we talked about earlier, well backed, and they're going to be one of the stronger teams in the division this season. So a bit tough. Probably people are waiting for that point when it does click for them. Fingers crossed it's not on Tuesday night.
It shows the level of opposition Rovers have had to overcome in the opening weeks of the season, doesn't it? Maybe gone a bit under the radar, the fact they've already gone up against Bradford, Sutton, Wimbledon. Now in the space of 4 days it's Stockport and Salford. They end the month with a trip to Northampton. So not underestimating how tough a month it's been for Rovers and Gary McSheffrey.
Certainly no gimmies in that first month. I think we touched on it last week in terms of Sutton, that perhaps people looked at that one and thought that were a bit of a home banker for Rovers. We saw on the day just why it wasn't, and just why Sutton had done so well last season in this division. So yeah, it's been a very, very tough start. So far so good in terms of the points that have been picked up, and we'll see how they get on for the remainder of the month.
It's another opportunity, Josh, isn't it, to continue that momentum, build belief again, especially here at home on the back of what you did against Sutton. Home form's always important, isn't it? No matter where you are, if you want to be successful in a division, you have to win your home games. Yeah,
you definitely want to make your home ground a fortress, I'd say. You want teams to come here already with a bit of knocked confidence, looking at the record that the team have kept at home. So I think it's important that we perform well here, get the results that we need, which we have done so far, but obviously, like you said, very early doors. It's more of a marathon this season, it's not a sprint, so we need to keep that form up.
Is that the key then, do you feel, setting the tone when teams come here, they know what they're going to get from Rovers, it's in your face, it's on the front foot?
Yeah, I think almost instilling a sort of fear about us would be a good thing. You don't want teams to come here thinking it's going to be an easy game or they're going to sort of walk you over. You want to make sure they know they're coming for a good game.
I won't push you for a score prediction, Josh, but Liam, how do you see this one going?
I fancy this one to be tight, to be honest. I think I might go for a 1-1 draw.
Josh, Liam, thank you for your company. Thank you as always for you at home watching on as well. We'll see you down here on Tuesday night. A big game earlier in the Sky Bet League 2 calendar as Rovers face Stockport County.